So after my son was born and I ended up going to my sister-in-law's house, remember I upgraded to downhill, and because I was nagging, I'm known to be the nagger, and I think that's why people stay away from me and they feel that I nag too much. Um, and I don't know if it's the nagging part or it's just that I get this anxiety when I don't have control over things, um, or that I feel that I'm losing control. So I'm verbal, and when people are doing things wrong and they know they're doing it wrong, so they turn back at me and they use the word, that I'm nagging or I'm just too much. But anyway, so I was nagging, and um, they had the brilliant idea of introducing me to heroin. So I made the decision that night after I was released from the hospital to sniff. Back then it was brown, Chocofan. It was brown heroin. Um, back then there was like red bags, blue bags, whatever. I'm not gonna even discuss what kind of bag it was, but I did take it, and I remember how sick I got, and I started getting so nauseated, and I threw up, but I also remember how it calmed me, and I felt warm. It was like the first time that I ever felt warm inside. It gave me this sense of something cared about me, and I finally felt something embracing me. And even though I always felt cold and anxious, and my brain all over the place, for the first time something numbed me, something stopped my brain, something for that instant just stopped everything that was going around me and making my world so hectic. Everything just stopped. I didn't care. I didn't care for that moment that I was ugly, or my body was teared up because of all these kids. I didn't care that he was in the bathroom doing his drugs with his sister. I didn't care that I spent so much time in the streets and sleeping in the streets, and being cold and hungry. I didn't care what anybody thought about me. For that moment and that time, I didn't care. And it was such a relief to not have all that stuff in my head. Um, we finally went home. Could have been close to early morning. The sun was coming up, and got home. I'm exhausted. I'm with the three kids, and finally made it home. And the routine changed. It became, a Friday, after he got paid, we're going to his sister's house. And if it wasn't to that sister, it became the sister in Springfield, off of Franklin Street. And then it became Friday and Saturday. We're going to the sister's house. And at that point, I was like, okay, let's go. I was introduced to what was called speedball. Um, and I was fine with it. I was like, oh, okay. So he would drop me off at his sister's house while he would take off. And, I didn't care because I was actually doing speedballing with his sister and he was off with females down on Main Street or doing his stuff, and then he would come and pick me up and the kids, but I was already blasted, you know, and it became a routine. You know, it became a Friday and Saturday thing. But little did I know that after a week of doing this, that I would wake up one day and feel so sick. But it wasn't that I was pregnant. I was sick because my bones were hurting and my back was hurting and I was throwing up and I couldn't move and I didn't understand what was going on. I'm like, why do I hurt so bad? So I had this idea that maybe if I take the car and drive down to Elm Street in Holyoke and go pick up a bag, and back then I didn't know how to cop right, but go ask somebody down that way, you know, to go grab me something. Maybe this will go away, you know, and I would just ask random people, and of course I'll be like, oh yeah, you could take some, you know, I don't care, I just need something because my body's hurting. And sure enough, I was hooked to it. I was hooked to heroin. He would go off to work and I would be in pain, and I was wondering why wasn't he in pain? Like, he would get up and go to work, but then he would always have, you know, a 40-ounce, you know, beer in the morning, but he would go to work. But I'll stay home and I'll get the kids ready to go to school, but I couldn't function. Well, I will function where I would get them ready and get them off, but then I would get in my car and I would head down to Elm Street and looking for the fix, you know, and it became a routine that it was so chaotic. And then I would rush home and try to get the house organized, and my mind, you know, at first it was a good feeling because I was, you know, calm when I first started, you know, but then it became a job. I have to wake up. I have to find my fix. I can't let him know that I'm going down there by myself and looking for drugs. Because if, you know, in my silly head, if he finds out that I'm copying drugs on my own, I'm going to get in trouble. You know, I'm like that little girl in my head, you know, he's going to find out, I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to get hit, he's going to scream at me. But he's the one that got me involved in this crap. You know, it got so bad that I would leave the kids early in the morning. You know, I would leave the house before they got up, and I would go down to, you know, to the spot, cop, and then go back up before the kids woke up. You know, this damn addiction was so horrific. It got to the point that his sister would tell me things of what he was doing, so then I could go ahead and get mad, so I could keep buying more drugs, so I could then keep getting them high. So, you know, he would go to her house and he would bring lovers, and they would be in the bathroom shooting up and hanging out all night because he wouldn't make it home. And then on Saturdays when he'll take me over to her house on Franklin Street, you know, she would tell me, oh yeah, you know, so-and-so was here. He bought this crazy girl that was in the bathroom. He was telling her, oh, mommy, you know, you look so good. And he was in the bathroom with her, and he would spend so many hours with her in the bathroom. And, you know, those were the nights that he wasn't coming home. So then I would get so mad that one day I decided to then go ahead, and I ended up then using the needle. And that's when all the chaos really began. And that's when she decided to tell me that she was, all the stuff that he did, she would tell me every week, and her man would tell me every episode, but it was to egg me on so I could keep buying more and more and more. And remember, I was still that 17-year-old getting caught in more lies and being dominated by the family on everything and all the lies, and being manipulated on both ways, and this side and that side. And so it didn't become no more that I'm happy, and I'm, I feel good with my buzz or my high. It was more that I want to just do more and more and more, and I just want to die. I will go ahead and, cut myself, and take all the pills I, could get my hands on. I was suicidal. I would try to, actually, there was a point that I grabbed more than 100 pills, and I took it. And they had to pump my stomach with charcoal. You think he cared? No. He didn't even take me to the hospital. That's the messed up part. My parents took me to the hospital. So even though I was seeking attention, I wanted to kill myself. I did the drugs because I figure if he's hanging out with people that do drugs, he's giving these girls attention, and if I become like them, he'll pay attention to me and the kids. Then, maybe he'll love me, but it didn't happen. I became so addicted that I ended up getting arrested, and my name was in the papers. I would leave my kids and my mom's and disappear. I did so much stuff that I'm not even proud of. And you think that this will bring them closer to me, or I was that child, seeking for so much attention from a man that I felt that even though he did so much to me and I allowed it, that he would just turn around and be like, okay, 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 I'll stop. But it didn't happen. I just kept getting worse and worse. And the addiction kept getting worse and worse. To wake up every morning, not able to eat, get yourself together because you need a fix. Because that bag is more important than your kids. Because you have such low self-esteem that everything you've done was so you could have a man pay attention to you. Girls, women, men, don't lose yourself with somebody. Don't ever lose yourself with somebody, because at the end, you're alone. And then you have to start all over again, finding yourself and trying to find out who you really are. And it's a long road, but it's worth it. And I'll tell you what happened afterwards. Be blessed.